This week on Planet Internet, is rainbowification a problem or a blessing for the gay community? What is going on with the Apple refresh and updates? And what's happening with JBS Foods and the cybersecurity incidences going on in America right now? So, this week on Planet Internet, my name is Amy Tom, and I am the host of this podcast. And today I'm joined with the Daos. It's Amy and the Daos. How exciting is this? We have Linh Dao Smooke, and she is the COO. And we have a new guest on the podcast, Kien Dao, and he is the brother of Linh Dao Smooke and the designer of HackerNoon. So welcome to the podcast, guys.
Brand executive.
Oh my gosh, brand executive. Excuse me, I've been
Thank you.
corrected. Anyways, so let's start by sharing our new HackerNoon website. It is rainbowified, and that is why we would like to chat about the rainbowification of logos, of marketing material. And so I wanted to share this Instagram post that is from a Instagram handle called So You Want to Talk About, and it's talking about rainbow washing and rainbowification. So Ling, can you share what your thoughts are on rainbow washing?
Absolutely. By the way, I just want to say that I want to redeem myself in this podcast by having crystal clear audio quality. And I want to apologize to all of our previous listeners of the previous podcast who have to endure my background noise. I am sorry. All right, let's dive deep into rainbow washing. What is it? Obviously it's Pride Month. Happy Pride, everyone. And if you have not been living under the rock, you should have seen that most of your favorite brands and corporations and companies have put on either a merch store or changed their logo, changed the look of their website to look like rainbow, in celebration of Pride Month. Us, not an exception, because just like Amy's show, we did it as well. But I want to talk about what the implication of this rainbowification of everything, actually is in our corporate and capitalist culture. A lot of skeptics and a lot of people on the left have backlash, and rightfully so, criticizing that this is just a marketing ploy, kind of merchandisation of something that means so much to people as the LGBTQ community movement towards equality and justice. And I would say that as the leader of HackerNoon, we are committed to not doing that. And we want to address that head on. And we want to first of all, direct people to this article, this Instagram article. It's beautiful. It has a lot of resources on how to check whether or not the corporations that you support actually put the money behind the cost. So that's number one. It's important to see the motivations. Number two, rainbow and the fact that we celebrate Pride is not in and of itself bad, right? Like, it is important that we have this month, we have all of these colors just kind of washing over us and telling us that the LGBTQ community have come a long way. So in and of itself is not bad. Now, what's bad is that a lot of corporations actually take advantage of this, and how you can see that for yourself. Now, we at HackerNoon, by no way and no chance in hell would ever make profit out of our rainbowification of the HackerNoon logo and the HackerNoon banner, as you see. What we do want to do, though, is to just kind of tell a community of 3 million readers a month. A lot of them bros, that's the only way I can say it, a lot of them are male in the age group of 18 to 25, that we support our LGBTQ's friends and readers and writers, and we are here to committing to do more. And that's all I have to say on the matter. Go check out So You Want to Talk About. I love that account. And I'm still getting educated to this day on important topics.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with everything that you said. I think the contention or the point of being able to tell whether a company is truly behind the cause or just wants to profit off of that is whether they're giving money to the cause and or ensuring that they're not profiting off of it, like making an LGBTQ plus version of their product or whatever it might be, profiting off of the sales, even if they you know, donate some of the sales to the organizations that support LGBTQ plus, you're still profiting off of the idea of like, yeah, that whole, like, you're jumping on the bandwagon essentially, and you're not really truly getting behind the cause of it. Do you think, Ling, as a tech organization, that rainbow washing, or not rainbow washing, but rainbowification is controversial?
I think it could be, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't address it or shouldn't talk about it or shouldn't kind of like, I always come back to this quote, right? Like in situation of justice, if you stay silent, then you remain with like the oppressor. So like we don't want to like remain silent and just pretend that we are neutral about the LGBTQ movement and the kind of like fight for justice within our queer community. At the same time, like, I mean, it's hard for me as a woman of color as well as the tech executive running this whole show, knowing that a lot of our readers, a lot of our writers are more conservative and are more skeptical of, like, for example, the time that we put up the Black banner about Black Lives Matter back in May last year and this time as well. But that doesn't mean that we should not talk about it or should not address it. That just means that we have to be mindful and aware. Like one of the slides in here did talk about how you can check for like the intention by like going to some kind of index that see if the corporations actually donate to LGBTQ kind of like anti-LGBTQ cause, such as donating to politicians that do like anti-trans or anti-gay kind of bills. So that could be one way that we could like direct attention of our readers and our listeners to that kind of resources. But yeah, this is absolutely the beginning of what we can do as an organization. And we should not, and we will not stop here, right? Like this is just kind of like opening up an invitation to kind of for our readers to think about it. A lot of them, again, as established, bros, male, younger.
Yeah. That website, I will just say audio wise, is progressiveshopper.com, so that you can check that out. And I'll put that in the show notes as well. And I also really like what you said about being open and moving forward, because I think we're humans, we're not always perfect. I know for myself, I'm always on a journey to learn more and to correct myself, like I think if you can say, look back at 5 years yourself 5 years ago and see all the things that you thought were right but you now think are wrong, that's growth, and that's like you're willing to make a change. So I hope that that's how I want to be as a person, and that's the kind of company that I want to work for, that would acknowledge that things are changing and that we're having our ears to the ground and we're listening. So Kien, what is it like in Vietnam, where you're from, in terms of branding around LGBTQ plus?
Wow, I think that's a very great question, Amy. In terms of LGBTQ matters, I would say the youth, the Gen Z, the millennials are really trying hard to provide as much information as possible, to do as much act as much as possible, and to try to convince basically the whole the government, the country, to care more about the matter, like for the time being, to care more about the matter. And I feel like as a developing country, we are making pretty good progress. I remember back in 2015, it was a long process, but the bill for accepting gay marriage in Vietnam has finally been passed. And I remember that that was a very joyful time. Everyone went
Remember
out
that
on the
year. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Everyone went out into the streets, and we parade. And we flags everywhere, and people just like go dressed up and celebrate the bill being passed. And I feel like that was one of the steps for Vietnam to be closer to accepting LGBTQ matters. So yeah, but I would say there's still a long way to go for Vietnam. Definitely,
Yeah.
like we still have a lot to catch up with. A lot of raising awareness for people, but we are getting there. And
I think it's interesting.
I think I think I'm pretty proud of that. Just
Yeah.
small little step, but can make a big impact.
Yeah. When I think about LGBTQ,
LGBT.
LDS.
LSD. LSD. When I think about LSD, no. Alex, cut that out. No. When I think about LGBTQ plus, in an international sense, I think I feel sad. I am intrigued. I'm confused because for me, growing up in Canada, I have always been exposed to gay culture, I think, and I have really progressive parents. I think that's also helped. So, I've grown up with this like rainbowification of things, I guess, and I had not really put too much thought into it until adult life, when I realized that, in places like India or more conservative places where there are people who are, I don't know how to even describe this, like people who are more on the right, I have no idea, of people who just don't believe in gay marriage or gay rights or equal opportunities or things like that. And it's almost shocking to me, I guess, like it's a culture shock to think about that, because in North America, and especially in Canada, it's so normalized, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm like even doubly proud of Vietnam being such a conservative country in other matters, that was still able to pass that bill. I feel like the government really did something right there. I remember the pride I felt. The pride I felt that day, and just kind of like going on the street with like all of our friends, many of whom are like older, actually, like the LGBTQ movement in Vietnam, I feel like is a lot more progressive than a lot of other causes that like the younger people trying to do. So
yeah, and also I forgot to bring this up, but recently a candidate for and wait, how do you call it? Like
Congress
for the is it Congress? I think I think it was Congress. So a candidate, we finally have a LGBTQIA plus member who is a candidate for the Congress. So like to us, like the youngster, like it was like a totally bold move, and we're very proud of him. Other than being a pretty successful lawyer, like he has done so many things for the community, and to be actually brave enough to apply to be a candidate for Congress. And even though it had sparked controversies among many people, but I feel like controversial matters are good. Like it shows that people care. Like people are actually like noticing him and how he's presenting himself as a candidate, and that sparked like multiple arguments like around like on social media, on different platforms, and I think it's a good day for Vietnam.
Yeah.
Like it's a very good day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how we have rainbowified the HackerNoon logo. And that is also why I am very keen to chat with you, Kien, who is the brand executive, of the HackerNoon brand. And so can you run us through this article that you wrote on hackernoon.com about the not rebranding, but rainbowification of the HackerNoon brand?
Sure. Thank you, Amy. So I wrote this article. By the way, it's my second article, so it may not be a good read, but it's a really good read. You should totally read it.
It's a great read. Listen, Kien wrote it. I edited it. It's perfect. We are the perfect combo.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Find a flaw there. We can't.
Yeah. So
tell me about your research. What went on there?
So as a brand executive or designer or a creator of some kind, I feel very strongly that we should put not a lot, but like an adequate amount of research into what we are designing and into what we are trying to deliver. And so especially when it comes to pride, like I feel like we can learn more and more about it every day, about pride. And so I did a little bit of research, and to separate ourselves from other companies that are also rainbowifying themselves these days, I decided to go with the they call it the Progress Pride flag, designed by Daniel Cassar back in 2018. And what's interesting, what's very great, what's exciting about the flag is that it incorporates the colors of transgender people and people of color. And if you go back to the history of Pride, back in 1969, the very first Pride riot, if it were not for people of color and transgender people, Pride would have never happened. And I feel very strongly about this flag, that emphasizes the importance of their work, for everything they've done with Pride. And so I decided to go with the rainbow colors and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 extra colors, and incorporate them into the HackerNoon logo. There's a whole tutorial here on how to help you guys create the logo of your choice and to rainbowify it. So I won't bother you with that. I want to tell a little bit of the intersection between the 6 colors and the 5 newly added colors. They are diagonal, and so like they create some sort of interaction, an intersection of colors, which is where like when 2 lines meet in the middle, that's where they share everything. Like that's where like everything on each of the line have the same in common in that very intersection, in that very dot. And so I feel like this can help like bring the meaning of Pride closer to people. So I want people to understand more of what Pride can mean and what Pride Month can help you understand more about the humanity in general. And so by having that, by having them like intersecting in an intersection, that I hope to have like some sort of reality where people all meet in one point and share all the similarities with each other and have all the mutual understanding for each other. So that's kind of the depth of that.
Yes.
I don't know.
That's great.
I feel
think
like
with intersectionality, I think it's a huge point in LGBTQ plus culture as well, because like you were saying, these people have been instrumental in bringing awareness and to the community, and the idea of having to face multiple layers of racism, sexism, it's heavy, and that's why I appreciate that we have added this into the rainbowification of the HackerNoon logo as well. This is the first year that I've seen this become more popular. Would you say that's true, Kien?
This flag has been around since 2018. It was originally the flag of Philadelphia state, But it wasn't until 2020 when the Black Lives Matter movement become popular globally that the designer for that flag decided to popularize the flag more. And so I would say from 2020 until now, it has been more and more widely used, and I hope for it to be even more widely used.
Yeah.
By many people. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I think that also comes down to partially the admittance that you were wrong, right? Like when you, as a brand, decide to add the intersectionality into your mix when you maybe weren't doing that before, you're kind of acknowledging that this is a new era and we're moving past, or we're trying to move forward and support the people of color as well. So thank you very much, Kien, for sharing that story. And I also wanted to chat with you, the Apple lover, about the Apple recap. I assume that you watched every single minute of it. Is it true?
Let me take a sip of water.
Honestly, ever since I knew him, which is all of his life, he has been the biggest Apple fanatic, and the first gift, the first Apple thing, and I think they have evidence of this online. Let me find it somewhere. Maybe put it in the show notes. Is when I was 22 years old and he was 13, and I sent back home in Vietnam an iPod. And he literally cried his heart, like cried his eyes out. Like he was like bawling, opening the thing. And ever since there's this Apple conference, like I have never not seen him like being so excited about Apple. Like, talking about like last podcast, we like talk about our kind of love for Apple, right? Like, oh my God, he is a different level. Just kind of.
So you got him his first Apple product.
Yeah, I still got that iPod, and it doesn't really work anymore. But it's a souvenir. Like it's my first technology that I ever owned.
Yeah.
So
what do you think about Monterey?
Cool. Disclaimer: as much as Ling is making me as big of an Apple fan, I'm my knowledge on Apple is not that broad, so I apologize for adding I don't know if I do say anything wrong that you might find. I apologize for that first. And so some people say this year the 2020 WWDC is pretty boring and pretty much what everyone predicted. I myself, on the other hand, like I still find it very interesting. Even it's the tiniest little bit of improvement or update. It's still worth appreciating Apple's effort. And we can go.
Can you take me to the meat? Let's stop the Apple Apple party here.
Okay, cool.
We aren't a commercial for Apple. Take me to the meat. What do you think about Monterey? Damn it!
All right. Okay. Oh, all right. Okay. So I'm most excited for the macOS Monterey. First of all, I love the name Monterey. Ling took me there. It's a very peaceful. What is it, like a state? No, it's not a state. I'm sorry, a county. Very peaceful. And what's amazing about the macOS Monterey is that it's a function called universal control. And so what it does exactly is you have a PC, you have an iMac or a MacBook, and you have an iPad. So basically you can do everything across all three devices. So like, for example, you can drag your cursor from your MacBook onto the iPad, and you can export the file on the iPad and drag it back onto the MacBook. And you can copy some text or some image on the MacBook and paste it on the iPad. So basically a much stronger ecosystem than what Apple is currently having right now. And I can't tell you, I can't really stress this enough, like how much like how drastically it would change my life as a
Yes.
brand executive.
Okay, I was gonna say that I feel
Right.
like a lot of the Apple things that they released in this conference were very focused towards content creators and designers.
That's true. And developers too. But we'll touch on that. But like for example, I use Procreate a lot, and I know that Amy used Procreate a lot. She's a great artist, by the way. She gave me like a painting of a dog or a cat the other day, and I was like totally mind blown. Like the colors
I
and
want to
everything.
see it.
You should. And okay, back to Procreate. So I usually have to draw something, maybe a design element or like a mock-up of some kind. And so what I have to do is I have to export it as a PNG or a Adobe Photoshop file, and then I have to airdrop it all the way to my MacBook, and I have to wait 15 seconds to a minute for my MacBook to receive the file, and then I have to open the file on my MacBook.
Yeah.
But with the universal control, you can actually, the file is right here. You can drag it. You can drag it onto your desktop and onto your wallpaper and open it right away. It will take like literally 10 seconds. Like
Tim Cook, is that you?
Okay, I think I'm screaming right now, but like I think okay, people are like I may be overreacting, but I think you are underreacting, like to how amazing this universal control is. Like it just changed my mind.
Okay, but remember though when we first got AirDrop and it was like, oh my gosh, I can put my photo from my phone to my laptop. What is this?
Hold on. Okay, I can argue with that. Like AirDrop, I think it's a brother, it's a sibling to Bluetooth. So
Okay,
like in Vietnam, I've been using Nokia like for quite a while, and like Nokia users use like Bluetooth pictures to each other, and now we have AirDrop. I remember like a while ago, like I shit talking about AirDrop, saying that it's such a Bluetooth ripoff. Like why would people even use that? And now I think my life, depends on AirDrop basically.
All right, can we just switch gear? I literally just airdrop this thing to my Mac from my phone as we speak. So case in point, I get your point, but I want to share screen. I don't know if I can. All right, let's
give you the function. Just a second.
All right, let's switch gear a little bit. I swear it's related, but
all right. Okay, yeah, go.
All right. So I want to talk about this whole kind of move to privacy that like this new update. Really kind
14.6.
Yeah, so I just this morning updated my iOS to the 14.6 version. This is the verifying update kind of screenshot for our audio listeners. And then I went on Facebook, right? Because I'm a millennial. And it says, you are on iOS 14.6. This version requires us to ask for permission to track some data from this device to improve your ads. Done, done, done. And I'm like, okay, that's new. And then say what it actually does in terms of like tracking. And then it has this pop-up that says, do you want to allow Facebook to track your activity across other companies' apps and websites? That is new, right? Like that is the first time I think an iOS update actually kind of transparently tells you that you can opt in or opt out of being tracked across the web. And I think it has something to do with like masking your IP or something. I don't know, developers can tell me later. But I mean, I don't know, like the skeptic in me says that, wow, this is just Apple being so Apple and great at marketing again, because what Apple has always been good at is direct relation and direct kind of like stickiness with the users, right? And like as users, our generation, the Gen Zs, even the later millennials, and just more privacy focus. It like switch. Of course, we're gonna, make this move. We're gonna make it all about privacy at the cost of advertisers and smaller companies that depend on Apple, right? On Apple Marketplace and on the App Store. So I just thought to bring it up because that's pretty interesting to me as a consumer. And
Yeah,
guess
it's
what?
a very validate point. Yeah.
Guess what? I click allow because I don't care.
Yeah.
I like,
Hey guys,
I'm an open
guess what? I clicked allow. Guess what?
book. I like bring me all the ads. Like
Yeah.
back in the 2016 and 2003 election, I invite the ads because I want to click on those Trump ads to spend his money. You know?
Okay, interesting. What a strategy.
I contributed to the demise of his money. And
Okay, so maybe as a millennial, you haven't run into much spam yet. So imagine like having something inappropriate pop up on your ad and Nora's like looking at it, you might change your mind.
yeah.
But yeah, I would say this is a pretty consistent move for Apple for 3 years in a row now. So the iOS 14.6 with their I would say publicly announced move towards privacy, like toward protecting users' privacy. And so they introduced the Ask app not to strike to users, like in order to bring the clarity, bring the transparency to users. Like they in Apple's words, like users deserve to know how and where they are being tracked. And this year, like they took it to another level, like with introducing iCloud Plus. So if you haven't already know iCloud as we use today, like they have basically everything on like our data on there, right? So Apple decide to like level it up one bit. So from now on, using iCloud, we can get away from all the tracking from internet. So you know how the internet is tracking us via our IP address, and so like some of the time, like when we're talking about like I would say banana bread, and I wouldn't find myself, I wouldn't be surprised if I see a banana bread ad on my Facebook 20 minutes later. And so iCloud Plus like prevent that. And so with I won't go into the details, but like by using Safari, you can browse everything without being scared of without being tracked. And
what? Okay, no, I feel like you have to go into details of that. I don't get it.
Okay, so I can go into details in this article. So basically, they have a relay kind of system for it, and it also includes the hide my email. And so in iOS 14, if you don't already know, if you sign up with something, it has a tiny little function called you can sign up with your Apple account, but you can choose to hide your email, and you can sign up an account with a randomly created email that Apple is giving you. And so like they are really out there trying their best to protect users' privacy.
Okay.
And this year with iCloud,
my main thing with that though is like I think Safari accounts for something like 20% of total browsers usage. So like I'm interested in like what this would mean for like Chrome users and like how Google would follow suit. Like, like his has showed us that they tend to like when Apple does something, then they like immediately like follow suit.
I am really excited. Yeah, I'm really excited to see browser updates for Chrome because of the new Safari updates, because the Safari updates look sexy as hell. They look so good.
But
I want that. But Chrome, though. I don't use Safari. I think though that like the privacy information, what I read, I'm not sure this is 100% accurate, so don't quote me on this, but what I've read is that Facebook is really upset about Apple cutting this down because it cuts away a lot of their advertising data for location information. So they were saying that like Facebook was used to track your location via other apps like your photos using the GPS location and things like that. Whereas now it locks that down. So if you say through your phone, don't share your location data with Facebook, they actually can't access it, even though they could before via other apps, which I think is interesting. So like that's where their panic is, that they can't locate the person, so the ads won't be as targeted.
But
Super
I do
interesting.
have to bring an interesting point towards Apple's marketing the privacy strategy. So the shielding yourself from being tracked on the internet only works on Safari,
Yeah.
and it will
Mhm.
not work on other browsers. And currently, Safari is not the most popularly used website. And
Yeah.
so, like I think tying back to all this, like it's just another marketing strategy
Mhm.
for Apple to popularize their app more. And I don't know, like I think they're getting their way, like they're getting there. Like I feel like after
Hopefully
this, more and more people,
it would signal to the market that like a
uh,
big enough company is doing it,
right?
and you better compete and you better
Mhm.
follow
Mm-hmm,
suit. Like the
mm-hmm.
most recent example, um, I forgot. I have to go back to that podcast, but it's something Apple also did on its App Store, and then Chrome kind of immediately did it like the month after. Because
Mhm.
basically, it's like the battle for who controls the market, and
Yeah.
if consumers just keep coming back to Apple, then Chrome, even though it controls the majority of the thing, right, like has to follow suit.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk
All
HackerNoon again.
right. I would like to move on
No,
to the security incidents that are happening in America right now. So I think cybersecurity wise, the news in America is really exciting. Maybe not exciting is not the right word because a lot of bad
Very,
things are happening, but
very
like
right.
very hot news right now. So
okay,
this
tell
past
us.
week, JBS it's a foods company and they produce meats in America, and they had a security incident, a security breach, a ransomware attack, and they basically shut down. I think that they shut down their systems, and so their employees couldn't log in or couldn't get into the building or something. So people weren't able to work. And because people weren't able to go to work, the production of meat dropped by like 25% for the week. And so they're anticipating the prices of meat to rise and the distribution to be more challenging. And I guess like the variety to be lessened. So I think it's interesting that this comes after the Colonial Pipeline attack, which happened a month ago, 2 months ago now, which attacked the Colonial Pipeline Company, who produced a quarter of America's gas, and so increased the fuel cost in America. So,
As
Ling,
well as the
were you
SolarWinds
familiar
attack.
with this? Sorry, go ahead.
Not with the JBS Foods. I think you summarized it very well. I learned that from this HackerNoon article. So good job,
Yes,
Tara.
Tara.
Yeah, but yeah, I remember about the Colonial Pipeline ransomware, as well as the SolarWinds attack,
Yes.
which it right. We based in North America, in America, so we care about these three. But apparently, there have been incidents in like the Ukraine, some European countries as well, of like criminals that just kind of increase incidents of cybersecurity attack and ransomware attack on different facets of society, including corporations, but also like the government. Like the SolarWind one actually affects like a good portion of the U.S. government that was using and I think it's what is called like a supply chain attack. So like instead of like going to one particular entity, they like go to the one of the kind of components, like one of the systems
Yeah, it's
that a lot,
operational. Yeah.
yeah, like a lot of companies and a lot of organizations and government entities use to just like operate, like you say, right? So it's very masterful. It's very hard to track. Like it's like almost impossible to trace to the origins of many of these attacks. And a lot of the time, like the incentive is unclear. Like for example, the ransomware attack, it just with the Colonial Pipeline, it's just clear that like attackers just want like millions. And like I think today the CEO or whoever that leads Colonial Pipeline like testify against Congress, for his decision to pay the 400 millions and like why that was just. But in other times we don't know, like with the SolarWind ones or with this JBS Food one, it could be like a state funded one, and you would never know because some of these are just so like masterfully masked, right? Like, so yeah, I just thought we living in such interesting time. Like we're talking about this like Apple privacy move, right? And then we also talk about kind of like the governments and like corporations like being aware of justice and stuff. We also have to talk about like relationships between countries and how all of these pieces just kind of like fall together. Like we have the Russia US relation that we have to think about, and like how the 2020 as well as 2016 elections kind of at the catalyst for like a lot of these things. Like obviously I'm speculating like a shit ton here, so like don't quote me on any of these.
Yes.
Like even like the best detectives and like the best
well, I think
yeah.
that they're saying that JBS and the Colonial Pipeline were both speculated to be from Russian attack groups.
Right.
Yeah.
So like what does that mean, right? Like is it just kind of like the inconvenience of people not being able to log in? Like what else can these people do? Like will it, like with a couple of keystrokes, it can turn from like inconvenience to like actual catastrophe and like actual tragedy if we don't pay attention and like we don't like strengthen the security system and like not getting ahead of the curve when it comes to cyber attacks. So I think it's like extreme important like national security matters. And because it's happening so much more often now, the average consumer and the average citizen like got made aware of it, right? Like with the Colonial Pipeline, like I just remember those images of like people not being able to get gas or like hoard gas, and it's like the economic impact of that all as well. It feels more real now that like it just happens more often and the impact is being felt on the average.
Ooh, okay. I feel like this is going to be the weird thing to say, but I feel like if I was a hacker, I would be really intrigued about doing the research behind these projects that they're doing. Like, how would you identify that the Colonial Pipeline would have been a good one to target if we shut down the system? Then, like, half of America's gas is going to go away. Like, can you imagine doing all of the research that goes into that? Like, it seems wild.
Yeah.
Because you don't only have to think about the...
So some hackers on our side might...
hi. But you might... I don't know, like you'd have to think about, guess the economic impact, first of all, of the attack, and then you'd have to find your way in, find a vulnerability, and then like access into the systems and everything, like all of the little details, like finding someone who's going to open a malicious link or however you're going to get in there. Like it's kind of interesting to think about the thought process too behind like a hack attack.
I was just gonna say, Ling, you're familiar with Black Mirror. Like, I feel like this can totally be something like, brought out from a movie, and which got me thinking, like, how close to that reality are we now? Like, we are so close to that reality where different countries use technology to win in the competition, like, and to win over other countries. And this might be one of the strategies for them to bring down.
Espionage is as old as countries were formed, right? Like it's not a new kind of like phenomenon. But what is new about these things is like all these sophisticated kind of like technological advantage that these criminals, these cyber criminals were able to deploy. Yeah, not unlike the ones from Black Mirror. Like the one that came to mind is that Bees episode where like you get everyone that say death to someone, and then everyone that like do the hashtag death to someone like got hacked and like die.
Spoilers alert. Okay, but yeah, go ahead.
Oops. I mean, have you been under a rock? If you
I feel like if you missed it, you missed it. I've never watched it. I'm not upset because It's been out for a while. I had my chance. Okay, so actually, the last thing that I want to chat about today is Bezos. He is taking a trip to space just 15 days after he steps down officially from his CEO position at Amazon. Bezos will be boarding the Blue Origin, which is his first mission to space. I think he's going to be in space for 11 minutes, along with his brother and a person, some other people who have not been identified yet, and then also one person who is going to be there by bid, which is interesting. So what do you think about that, Kien?
I don't know. I wonder how much is it? Like, can HackerNoon send me there as a representative?
What if we all pool together our life savings and send David to space with Bezos?
You know what, Amy? I think with that,
it
will never be enough for us to get a spot there. Like, I feel like it has to be trillions of dollars, like to guarantee a spot there. I don't know.
Hey, you don't know the personal finances of everyone on this team. What if we've got a billionaire?
Oh no! Oh, I'm sorry. I should be more respectful to you, Amy.
No, it's not me. It's not me. But what if it's someone else? But what if?
Okay, what if it's you? I don't know. I feel like it's you.
I just want to say, oh my goodness, Mark Bezos, who the hell is Mark Bezos? Why am I just hearing about him today? And why the hell does he look like Jeff's doppelganger? Like he looks just like Jeff, but with a mustache.
Yeah, kind of.
That just blows my mind that he has a brother who kind of is clone. Like,
and the first time he's coming out into public, it's like, oh, I'd be honored to go to space with you. What a debut. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on the podcast. What a vibe today. Sibling vibe. I'm so excited to have been the
Asian
adopted
vibe.
Dao. Yes, I've been the adopted Dao of the day. So thank you guys for my Dao time.
Of course, you gotta.
If you like this episode of the HackerNoon podcast, don't forget to subscribe and share and like it. And also, this episode was edited by audio wizard Alex, produced by HackerNoon, and hosted by me, Amy Tom. Stay weird, and we will see you on the internet. Goodbye.